Hello, Dr. Childress here. Welcome. These are books from my garage. This particular book is just one book I want to talk about in this segment. It's an interesting little book, um, and it's incredibly valuable, but very few people know about it. But it is, wow, it is really impressive little book. And it's this book by Wampold, The Great Psychotherapy Debate: Models, Methods, and Findings. And what Wampole did was he looked at all the research for like 50 years on psychotherapy, and he did what's called a meta-analysis of it. So he got all the data from all these different studies and he reran it through his computer, putting it all together. And you have to adjust because not every study is the same, but there's ways to do that. And so he did what's called a meta-analysis on all of the research on psychotherapy, looking at what works and what doesn't. And it's so interesting for what he found. And what he found was what the scientific evidence on psychotherapy says is it doesn't matter which treatment model you use. You can use family systems, you can use cognitive behavioral, humanistic existential, psychotherapy, psychoanalytic. It doesn't matter. They all are effective. The two things that the research says are the most important factors in successful psychotherapy is first that the person has a model to work from, that the therapist is working from a model. It doesn't matter which one, but if you don't have a model you're working from, it's not going to work. So it doesn't matter if you work from a humanistic existential model, it works. If you work from a psychoanalytic model, it works. Okay? Whatever model you work from works, but you have to have one. And the second requirement is your client has to accept that model as a description for the pathology. So if you have a model, the client accepts that, it's going to be effective. I don't care what type of model it is, and that's Wampold, the Great Psychotherapy Debate. And so that becomes incredibly important as we're talking about high conflict divorce and what's happening here, is because I don't see people using any model of psychotherapy with this. And so with you reunification therapists or people who are supposedly treating this, who are, in my view, just right there with the custody evaluations for kind of fraud. There's some good ones out there. I know that. I've read your stuff. I've seen your stuff. So I'm not. There's good ones, but for a lot of them, oh my goodness, they're not doing anything, and they know nothing, and I can see that from their reports. Um, the so for you psychotherapists out there, you have to choose your school. Are you psychoanalytic, humanistic existential, cognitive behavioral, or family systems, or maybe social constructionist? But you got to choose your school. Now you're going to come back and say, I'm eclectic or I'm integrative. I know you. That's what you're going to say. Okay, fine. So here are the family therapy books that I would talk about with that I would integrate with maybe solution focused therapy, which I'm doing. So then I can grab Berg and some of the solution focused stuff, and I can describe the family systems therapy that I'm integrating with solution focused therapy. So you need to do the same thing. Okay, so if you're going to be integrative, you need to tell us. And look, it's really easy. You just put a little thing on your iMovie, and boop, and up it goes to YouTube. Really piece of cake. So just tell us what models you're integrating or what models you're selecting from for your eclectic approach and why. Who are the people that are organizing your approach to psychotherapy? You're gonna have to do it because we're reestablishing standards of practice that have been so gone for so long. So Wampold, pick a model. Don't care what it is, whatever makes you happy. I'd recommend family, actually, from personal, because you're working with families, but I would recommend family. But I know analytic models, I know humanistic models, I know CBT models. And actually, yeah, any one of them can work. Humanistic existential is going to be really hard, but if you're really good at it, there's ways to work it around. Analytics is going to be hard, but if you're really good at it, I don't know. That's a little tough one. The analytic one is attachment. The attachment is within the analytic school. Doing couch psychoanalysis free association is probably not going to be very effective with this pathology. But I would recommend family systems work. You're working with families. So follow me on to the next video, and we'll talk about more books from my garage.